So this is the big topic of discussion in Dead by Daylight, in the world of Dead by Daylight DVD, the community, the ever so non-toxic, accepting community that does not cry in Facebook groups about how it's unfair. It's unfair when a killer uses NOED, and it's unfair when a survivor loops a killer, and it's unfair when a killer tunnels someone, and it's unfair when a killer camps the hook, but it's unfair when a survivor uses a boon and decisive strike and borrow time and flip-flop and tenacity and boil over and unbreakable. It's unfair. That community. And I am the homophobe, according to some. But anyway, so I just want to say a few more things about it. I made 2 other videos about it, and honestly, the main reason I'm making videos about it is for clickbait and views. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, I'm not kidding. But no, I guess you'll never know. But no, I guess I just think whatever you want. But what I was trying to say was, let's not play as a survivor, let's play as a killer. What I was going to say is that okay, so this homophobic thing, right? So I see people making videos and they're like, I will not tolerate homophobic comments in my comment section, and I will not tolerate. Okay, well, the thing is, it's like that argument, like somebody disagrees with you and you're like, you're racist. Well, somebody disagrees with you and it's like, you're homophobic, right? It's just a label that they're slapping on somebody that disagrees with them. Now, granted, I know there are some people that are homophobic and they are hateful. I'm not that person. I don't hate anybody. I see people as people. I don't like the stereotyping and the grouping. Now, homophobic means you would hate gay people. I don't hate anybody. I don't view somebody whose sexual preference is heterosexual or homosexual any different from each other. I treat people as individuals. People. I love all people. I love all souls. I love them all equally. I don't care if their skin color is black, red, yellow, black, or white. They are precious in my sight, okay? I don't care about categorizing people based on where they come from, their ethnicity, their, I see people as individuals, and there are, in fact, good individuals. And when I say good, I just mean like good-hearted, who want to be good and try to do good and are caring and more on the loving side. And there are evil individuals, and there are both good and evil in both categories. There are good-hearted liberal people and good-hearted conservatives, and evil-hearted liberals and evil-hearted conservatives, and evil-hearted dark-skinned people and good-hearted dark-skinned people, and evil-hearted light-skinned people and good-hearted light-skinned people, and evil-hearted women, good-hearted women, evil-hearted men, children, adults, whatever you want to say. There are different cultures, people of different backgrounds, religions, ethnicities, and there are good people and bad people in all of those groups. So the fact that we have to group people to begin with and say, well, we are the emo kids or the punk rockers or the gothics or the heavy metals, like, why do we find our identity in groups? Why are we the LGBT community? That in itself is like segregation. It's non-inclusive. It means if you're not part of this, then you're not part of our club and we don't accept you. We want everyone to accept us. And I understand it's kind of like a defensive thing for people who feel like they haven't been accepted, so now they overcompensate. And they're like, we want to be accepted so much that we're going to force everyone to accept us. And if you don't accept us, then we will not accept you. And we're taking the power here, and we're going to take traditional marriage, which was between a man and woman, and we're going to make it all about homosexual marriage, and we're going to take over that, and we're going to take over the schools, and we're going to teach your kids that they're gay, and we're going to take over Disney. Well, they probably had Disney from the start, but we're going to push all this agenda into the cartoons to feed it to the kids, and queer stuff for kids on YouTube channels, and all that's okay. And gay parades, and paint the children's faces with flags, and dress up like in scandalous outfits and dances and what. I mean, probably not much different from a regular parade or some of those things, but point being, it's like, why do you have to be in a group and shove that group think down people's throats? Like, why can't we just be individuals? Like, I have friends from all different kinds of places and different ethnicities, whatever you want to call it, and sexual preferences, or however you want to call it, identities. And I don't judge them based on that. I don't judge them based on skin color, or whether or not they're LGBT, or whether or not they're heterosexual, or whether or not they're a man or a woman or a child. I mean, people are people. We should really love all people. And now, at the same time, sin is sin. And it's like, what if there was the liar community, and they paraded down the street and they were proud of being liars, and they tried to make everyone else a liar and justify that they're liars. Okay, does it mean would you hate them individually, or would you have compassion on them, or would you have any love for them? Would you agree with them? Would you say, oh, we just need to accept this? What if there were serial killers and they were like, we're just gonna parade down the street and say, we are the serial killer community, and you better accept us for who we are, and we want equal rights? And it's just, there has to be somewhere where you draw the line and what you accept and what you don't accept. Now, if people want to be gay or homosexual, whatever you want to call it, their sexual preference, then do that. But do that do that for you. But why does it have to be shoved in everyone's face and made to be this whole political movement, this whole agenda, this community that has to be heard and has to be represented? That's the whole thing, the representation. We need to be represented. Anybody that needs to be represented as a group has no individuality. If you're an individual, then you be you. And if you're gay and you're proud of that, then that's just you and how you want to live and what you want to be proud of. Whether it's right or wrong is another story. Whether it's right or wrong is another argument or a discussion that you could have based on what you have. But if one person believes the Bible and the other person doesn't, then you're not going to agree on what's right or wrong anyone, because everybody sees what's right or wrong in their own eyes. If they don't have the same worldview, they're not going to agree on what's right or wrong. And let's be honest about it. The only way there really is right or wrong is if there's a God, because only God could determine what is right or wrong. Outside of that, outside of there being a God, then everybody just gets to decide what's right or wrong for them personally. And the problem with that is when you do something personally that you feel is right or wrong, and you're living in a world with other people who don't agree with what you personally believe is right or wrong, then there's a conflict of interest. Ted Bundy might have thought it was right to just go kill people. Charles Manson thought what he was doing was right when he was leader of a murderous cult. For instance, I don't want to say the name because it might just, who knows, this video will probably get blocked or demonetized or removed anyway, but let's say there was a certain German dictator who was responsible for the death of 6 million certain kinds of people. And, I'm sure he thought what he was doing was right. At least, why was he doing it if he didn't think it was right? So there comes a point where, if we just accept everyone and everything as right, then what are we doing? Because then there really is no right or wrong. So I don't want to keep going on and on in crazy tangents, but what I'm trying to say is that we're all human. We all came from the same place, and whether you believe in evolution or Adam and Eve, it doesn't matter. We're still all related. We still all came from the same place. So whether God created Adam and Eve and then we multiplied in the earth the way the Bible says, we still came from two people. And whether or not we evolved over millions of years from slime, when nothing miraculously exploded and magically created everything against all odds and against all known scientific laws, and we just evolved from the rearranged pond scum just magically. Any way you slice it, we would still all be related. We would still all be human. And so really there is only one race, and that is the human race. There is no black race and white race, and that's all man-made, and all that perpetuates racism. So when we group people into Black Lives Matter, we're just separating people into groups. And this is what actually propagates and carries on racism and hatred, because what we're saying is they're not one of us. Their skin tone does not match ours, so they're not one of us. But whatever happened to judging a person based on, you know, their character rather than their skin color? Or, you know, like, you can't just say, well, I'm just going to agree with this person because I'm a Muslim and they're a Muslim, so we are connected in Muslim brotherhood, so we must side with each other. Like, whatever happened to choosing individually, like, what seems to be right personally? You know, from my personal experience with homosexuals, I grew up thinking, and I was taught, you know, to love and accept and love and accept. And I'm like, sure, of course, love and accept sounds wonderful. I mean, I love and accept. I want to love and accept everybody. From my own personal experience, though, what has happened to me is I would have, as I was younger, I would have gay friends, and you know, I would love and accept them and hang out with them and treat them just like I would anybody else. I actually was probably favored them more, because I was like, you know, these people are discriminated against and out, you know, they're mistreated, and they're homophobic people that are hateful. And, you know, so how'd she die? I only hung her twice. I guess they didn't save her fast enough the first time. So yeah, so I had this, of course, like, loving attitude, and I still do. I still love everybody. I don't feel differently about somebody based on their sexual preference or their skin color, or any of that. And I don't know how much more clear I can make it, but people won't even listen to what I'm saying. They'll just hear, all they'll hear is like homophobic, 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 and that's all they'll think about me. Even though I'm not, I'm probably far more loving than the people who are, you know, that are going to put these comments in here saying how hateful I am. But anyway, from my personal experience, though, what's happened to me is pretty much, where are these people? Like, am I the only one on the map? I mean, I never thought I would want to hear a gen pop so badly, just to know that there are people here. So I'll just tell you from my personal experience, what's happened is, almost without exception, every gay friend I've ever had, at some point or another, tried to get me drunk and molest me or touch me, or, oh, there's another Michaela. Tried to make a move on me. Like, I actually can say, like, I got to experience what, like, a lot of girls might feel like if a guy is, you know, pressing and being too forward with them. But typically, you know, I would have friends and they knew I was straight, and they would be my friends even for years. And then at some point, I remember, like, you know, a couple times being in, like, high school and very much younger years. But at some point or another, we'd be hanging out and be having some beers or some vodka or whatever may be the case, smoking some weed. But at some point or another, almost without exception, they would eventually make a move on me or try to put their hand on my leg or start saying things to me or try to move in and get close to me. And it was weird because I almost felt like really pressured, because it was almost like, you know, it's like if you dare reject them, then it's like you're not being loving and accepting it. I don't know, it just felt weird because you feel this pressure. But anyway, I didn't go, oh look, that hook is gone, so I think this one's gonna go free. Alright, she's free. But my point remains is that in almost every case, like I could think of one gay friend that I have that I still consider a friend, that maybe I'm just not his type, but he's never tried anything like that with me. But pretty much every other one that I can think of has. And so I just came to this point where I was like, I really just gotta kind of keep my distance. Like, you know, you can love people from a distance, or you know where to draw the line. Or but it's like that with anybody. Like if I have a friend that is a liar, and I know they're a liar and they lie all the time, like I'll still love them and I'll still try to be a friend to them, but I'm gonna be cautious about the things they say. I'm gonna know that, like, very likely this person's lying to me about this. If I know somebody's a thief, and they're like a chronic thief, a pathological thief, whatever, habitual thief, they have a problem stealing, I can still love them and, you know, still care about them, but I'm gonna be cautious about bringing them to my house or where I might have like precious belongings, because we're keeping an eye on them. You know, it's like you got to put up your boundary. If I know somebody is a gossiper or a backstabber, I'm going to be careful about the information that I give them or the things that I say to them, because some people, it's like the more info, the more you open up to them, the more info you give them, the more rope you give them to hang you with. Like the more you confide in them, the more they throw in your face later or use against you. So you kind of mark those people. And while you still may love them and accept them and still want, you know, if they ever needed you, you might be there for them. And if they were ever in a jam and, you know, they needed you for something, it's not like you would hate them or abandon them. But at the same time, you kind of draw your boundary, and you kind of know what kind of person they are. Well, she just vanished and told me she went. Yeah, your blood trail just kind of like stopped right there at the locker. Whoa, boil over, baby. Whoa, some boil over. So, I don't know, I don't want to keep going on the rant, but if you understand what I'm trying to say, probably don't. But, you know, you can love people and disagree with them. You know, you can love people and not accept certain behaviors. Like I said, you know, if somebody's a rapist or something, you know, or hurts children or something, like, you know, there's forgiveness for people who are sorry and show repentance. But point remains, I think she's Death Hook. I feel bad if I kill her, because they still have 5 gens. They're total noobs, and one's on the hook right now too. Yeah, this is, I don't know, I feel bad about this. But you understand that you can love somebody, you can respect them, you can even accept that they are how they are. There are people in my life that I just accept how they are, even though I don't like things about them or they hurt me. I accept how they are, and I choose to love them for who they are. But at the same time, I know what to expect from them, and I know what they are. And so bringing this back to homosexuality, which was the topic originally. King David, or David King. I call him King David. So bringing it back, I can not agree. She die? Oh, she didn't die. I cannot agree with certain things, but that doesn't mean I hate somebody. So it doesn't mean I'm homophobic. And homophobic also a lot of times means, the way that's used in context, is that somebody's homophobic if they are like secretly gay and they're afraid of it and they can't face it. So they outwardly are afraid of it. So they hate on it, but secretly they are gay. And I guess there is that kind of homophobic or that kind of person as well. But once again, I'm not any of that when it comes to, like, I don't hate anybody. Wow. I feel bad for her. Oh, I wish somebody would have saved her, but they didn't. They just selfishly did the generators like they're gonna get out of this, but they're not. She died. Slippery Mango 69. See, that's another thing. When you go to the when you go to the codes to put in, right? Which ones are permanent? The only ones that are permanent are Pride for the flag. Those are that one stays. Now they have Pride 2022, which is a new flag, which I'm sure is just a variation of a gay flag, which probably includes like transgenders and stuff like that. Because they all have to be categorized and classified. I mean, even within themselves, they have to classify themselves into multiple classifications. So that one's permanent. And what other one is permanent? The one that says nice. And so that one is a code for 69 blood points. Is it just a coincidence that it's 69? Because that's kind of like a, you know, that number is known as kind of like a perverted number for a certain sexual position that is represented by 69. Is that, you know, is that just another coincidence that you know, that's the permanent code? And you're gonna tell me like we're not pushing certain ideologies on people? We're not pushing an agenda here? You know, why does this video game even have to include sexuality? Why can't we just butcher people with a mallet and a chainsaw like normal civil individuals, just, you know, normal human beings doing our everyday thing, chopping people up with chainsaws and hanging them on scourge hooks? Why can't we just do that and leave the whole sexual preference, gender nonsense out of the picture? Why does it have to be any of it? Like, what does it have to do with anything? We just need representation. We need to be represented, right? Why do you need to be represented? Are you that insecure with who you are that you need to be represented as a group, as part of a group, which in essence you're forfeiting your individuality? Because what you're saying is, I agree with everything this group says and everything this group thinks. So it's like, if this group is for abortion, then I'm for abortion. If this group is for whatever the cause is, then you're for it. But it means you can't have your own beliefs. You know, it's all like, hey, put this flag up, and if you put this flag up, you're in the club and you're accepted and you're good, and then you have no problems and nobody hates you. But someone like me, I make a video like this, or I speak different thoughts that I have come up with on my own, that conclusions I've drawn on my own, and it's not groupthink. It's not part of the club. And, you know, if they could, they would literally, like in real life, hang me on one of these hooks out in the open. If they could legally get away with it and do it, they'd put me on a hook. Well, not that one, that hook's gone. But you know what I'm saying? They would do it just because I disagreed with their opinion, their view, their worldview. And all I'm saying is, that's not love, that's not acceptance, that's not tolerance. That's not patience. That's not kindness. That's not... plug in any of the words they want to claim they represent. Now, once again, when I say they, I'm not like... That's the problem. They have put themselves into a group. I'm not trying to put anybody into a group. I think all people are equal. Doesn't matter sex, sexual preference, gender, or sexual orientation, whatever you want to call it, race. I already went over all this. I believe all people are people and should be individually... I feel like they're in a locker because, you know, people should be judged by their own actions and judged. I mean, you want to talk about being judged. Now, once again, being judged, you know, what does a judge do? A judge has a mallet like this, right? And he smacks it down in the courtroom and he says, guilty. And then he passes a sentence. The sentence is a punishment for the crime. So until you see me with the, what's it called, the gavel, the mallet, smacking it down and pronouncing someone guilty and sentencing them to some kind of death sentence or prison sentence or something, community service sentence, then I haven't judged anybody. Now, if you want to talk about judged in the broad sense by saying, like, telling somebody they're wrong about something, everybody does that. Everybody does that. There are going to be people in the comment section telling me I'm wrong for what I said. So they're going to tell me I'm wrong for telling people that they're wrong. So if they perceive that I told somebody they're wrong, then I'm wrong. I'm going to just do it. They're never gonna end if I didn't do it. I was sitting here and wait for all these generators, and I have nothing more to say about it, really. I mean, maybe I do, but it's just the same thing over and over. And that's it, you know. Everybody judges everybody, so you know there'll be people that... Oh, there it is. Oh, I think my challenge... Is it my challenge to close the hatch? I forgot what my challenge was. Maybe I didn't select a challenge. Like I said, the minute somebody tells me I'm wrong for what I've said in any of this, they're judging me. They're literally judging me. And that's what they tell me. You're closed-minded, you're a bigot, you're this, you're that, you're hateful, you're non-accepting, you're unloving, you're whatever you want to call it. They're judging me. They're showing intolerance towards what they perceive to be my intolerance. And I haven't really said anything hateful. I said I love all people. I care about the souls of all people. I don't wish anybody to hell. I wouldn't wish my worst enemy would go to hell. So, you know, a mature person will be secure in their beliefs and be able to have the discussion. But otherwise, I can't open this door. She's just gonna die? Maybe she's at the other one. Poor noobs. I kind of feel bad that I killed them, but what was I supposed to do? She's just gonna die. If she gets to the gate, I'll let her out. I think she's at the gate. I see the lights opening up. No, yeah, she's out. Watch her teabag. Tell me that she's too noob to teabag. Yes, she's teabagging it! Oh, that's too funny. They were total noobies. It was like I wanted her to get out. I even tried to open the gate. I can't talk to them either. They're all on console. But anyway, they made that video way longer than it needed to be. But there you have it. More thoughts on the matter. More thoughts on King David's homosexuality. Have a good day. Good night. Good life. Subscribe. and tell me how much you hate me in the comments. Actually, if you actually listen to that whole thing, then you probably don't hate me. Because, well, yeah, if you listen to that whole thing, you probably don't hate me. You're probably open-minded. That's cool.